Good morning. I hope all of you attended the wonderful Homa Divine Mother gave us a privilege to perform on this day. Please sit down, make yourself comfortable. It's going to be 15, 20 minutes for them. I'll share some information with you. You'll find it interesting and useful. And I see my friend down there. He knows astrology much better than I do. So he can come anytime and take over. Jupiter Guru is Deva Guru. He is one of the most important planets affecting us. Do planets affect you? Yes, planets do affect us because we all came from one source. That's Divine Mother. From her we came and many galaxies formed, many solar systems formed, many planets formed. We all came from one source. So obviously we are connected. That there's nothing to argue about that. So when we all come from one source, and there is one family, our family, our son's family. The sun solidified first, then other clouds became planets, small clouds. Earth is one of them. And because sun is much bigger and stronger, it captured this family with that sun. So we belong to this family, like a backyard. You can imagine how much more to be explored, how much more to be seen. But we are an entity and we have consciousness and we relate to Mother. Even though we are very insignificant, billion in our galaxy alone, there's hundreds of billions of planets. Now they're finding every day, they're finding one planet. Before they said, we are the only planets, rest of them are not planets. But now they're finding almost trillion of them, more than 500 million. What's happening there, we don't know. But at least they exist. We know that much. And that should be very logical. If she builds something, there will be some reason. There will be some elements there. It may not look like us. It may not be human. But it's a conscious element. That much we can surmise. So if the extraterrestrials exist, obviously, in this place they exist. Because I communicate. In the Kundalini meditation, there's so many yakshinis. Some of you have communicated with them. And as you evolve, you communicate with them. But there's two high vibratory entities. So like guitar string, when it vibrates fast, you don't see it, but you can hear the music. It's like that. So they exist, and this place is the entrance to Devaloka. So they love to come here because Mother is here, and she's going to build us. She is going to build us a temple. Can you imagine that? We build temple for divine all over. But here, she's so kind and we are so blessed. She's building a wonderful, magnificent temple. It'll be amazing. 24 Sannidhanams. She knows exactly what she wants and she makes it. And we will have it hopefully in a year and a half. But coming back to Jupiter, why it's important? It is very important. Astrology will tell you Jupiter is the Deva Guru, kind and won't hurt you. Is that true? No. He can hurt you. He can hurt you very gently, very subtly, but it's hurt. That's why it's called Bhakyadipati. Anything in life you enjoy, it'll be Jupiter. The perception of the enjoyment that's why it's called Bhakyadipati. It's very important for him. It has different effect, different times. Now it's going to Capricorn. Capricorn is really not a good house for him. Is really malefic, means it's Nicham in Capricorn. But there is Saturn in that house already. In the combination, he will give you Nicha Panga Raja Yogam. Nicha Panga Raja Yogam. Malefic house, supposed to be very bad, but because of the combination with Saturn in that house, you grant you nice thing. And doing, recognizing that energy is divine and doing Homa on this day when it transits. There are two Panchangam. According to one, today is the transit. The other one, there's more mathematical, that's on 20th. Not that much difference. So we will do one function next Friday. But to me, today is the day because this is Rishi Panchangam. This Rishi, thousands of years ago, have seen us. Thousands of years ago. And they can write about us on that. It's called Rishi Panchangam. It's amazing how they can see thousands of years ago these planetary motions. That I can, but seeing us small, insignificant, tiny beings, but they have seen it. So Rishi Panchangam, I go by that. I have studied it for almost 60 years, and I use me as an experimental animal. I'm the subject, so I watch the effect on me. This seems to be the one, but still it doesn't matter, 5 days, 6 days difference. Okay. So he's a very kind, very generous, very gentle. That's why he's called. Thank you. It's wonderful. So we get to see Kavacha on top of it. How kind Mother is. Doing all this helps us because we recognize him and we relate to him and we ask him and he will grant us. Deva Guru. All devas come to him. All the Asras go to Venus, Sukra. There's a reason for that. Mythology is beautiful. It's really scientific. But it is very romantic. The way it's explained is very romantic. So today is Jupiter's day. Now, astronomically, I'm not talking about astrology. Astronomically, facts are facts. He exists. He's very big, very spongy. He's like a sponge. That's the best thing because he has absorbed thousands and thousands of meteorites which have destroyed Earth many, many times. In the past 5 billion years, there are some scarring. He hit last big hit we had was almost 65 million years ago, Yucatan Peninsula. That is the time the dinosaurs, the whole species perished completely. You know how long they lived? 150 million years they survived. I'm including all dinosaur species, not the big ones, everything. They lived that long. When they lived, when a life form lives that long, it evolves. It has to. So they had their own civilization, own culture, I'm sure. We don't know it because we are only 4 million years total. They'll say we are only 150,000 years. That is this particular species, Cro-Magnon. But there are many, many related. I call them humanoids. Humanoids, many of them. They may go back to 4 million years, maximum. There's a humanoid. So you can imagine what's the space between that culture evolved, now we are come. And we are the most advanced form in this form. And we are, with a little brain, with a little thing, how much we survived, how smart, how wise. Saraswati's grace has given us many, many understanding of the universe. Science has given us much too. The problem with science is more anatomical, not functional. Astrology is more like physiology. It gives you the modus operandi, the exact thing. But coming back to anatomical part, the size of the Jupiter planet and the consistency has saved our solar system because it's a sponge. It takes on millions and millions of meteors coming and eating it. There's one of them you can see because in 1994, the two scientists, Shoemaker and Levy, I think. Am I right? Shoemaker and Levy. They photographed it in 1994. You can see thousands and thousands of nuclear bombs hitting Jupiter. They photographed it. Each one is like a nuclear bomb. Thousands of them hit. And it took it. One of them hit the Earth. Earth couldn't have survived. This is 1994. You can see it in the Google. You look for Shoemaker, Levy, photograph 1994 in that year, in the time frame. You'll see it. So what meaning is he is a protector. So he is a Guru Bhagavan. To me, he is a savior of our home for so many years. So that's why he's very important. But the position and the relationship to sun, moon, those are very important. Our astrology is basically based on moon. We are more Rasi, whereas Western astrology is more sun. We go by Tithis and Rashis. To me, that's very more scientific than other one. But both are important. Is astrology a science? That's the first question. Astrology was a science ever since immemorial. But about 400, 500 years ago, they stopped teaching it as a science in Oxford. I'm using Oxford because that was the center at the time, Vienna, Oxford, 500 years ago. They stopped teaching because they felt it's a pseudoscience. In other words, it cannot be proven. They're not saying it's wrong, or we cannot prove. Something which cannot be proven cannot be a science. But you know that is not true. Many, many things in life form. Like here, the trillion organism right here, I don't see it. You don't see it. It is there. We know that. But we still believe it because it exists. So anyway, so they stopped teaching it. And strangely, who made it a pseudoscience? Newton. Because he came out with fundamental formulas, fundamental facts in science, they said, we know everything. Then Einstein came with E equal mc squared, they said, we know everything. We haven't even touched. We are coming closer because ultimately you have to know what is consciousness. Because that is the important. Any material thing, you can keep on cutting it, boson, Higgs boson. That's the smallest one now. You can keep on cutting it. Build big colliders. The one they built, that's the current one. You can build a collider as big as old. That'll cut the piece in smaller, smaller, smaller. It'll keep on. But what is running us is consciousness, the physical part. But we say that the physical part is needed because that occupies. The consciousness is occupied by that. So the connection is basically how the rivers, the planets, the plants, how do they connect to us? Only one common element. They all have some form of consciousness. Do you know trees? You know, we have some holy tree here. In a temple, tree is very important. Mother has given us some holy trees. Because consciousness is fundamental. Smallest and the largest. Ultimately, they'll end up, once they stumble on that, the matter becomes less important. So that's the reason why the effect of planet is very important to us. The sun, the moon. You take these two important planets, you're looking at it, Rahu and Ketu, very powerful, very intense. But where are they? They are not even planets. We call them shadow planets because we don't see them. It's actually relationship. The movements of sun, moon, earth, and the interactions, and the relationship, that determines there is a connection between us and that movement affects us. And I won't go into that. I can't prove it. It'll take time. But there is. Astrology is true. And strangely, Newton made lots of money making charts, astrological chart. Newton. But he didn't want anyone else to know, so he hid it. Now they're finding out manuscripts where we find out he was a very good astrologer. And because of him, astrology has become pseudoscience. But we believe in it. We believed in all the ancient civilizations believed in it. And we are very advanced in it. We know so much about the effects of that. Now coming back to the position, each house, we divide them in 12 houses. It's all locational. So relationship changes depending on the house Jupiter is. The house you are connected, you are Rasi, you are Lakna, that is your house. And the relationship. That's what astrology is. It's very scientific, very complex. There is so many interactions. For instance, like here, Jupiter is in a malefic house now. It's moving into Nicha house, but it can give you a lot by Nicha Panga Raja Yoga. And even the aspect, Jupiter looking at another house, I say house for one Rasi. That has a lot of effect. So any house Jupiter looks at, that becomes very beneficial. And that shows in your life happiness, peace, contentment, and your growth. Everything is there. And Jupiter is very important. I mean, Venus is very important too. Asura Guru is very important, but it has a different effect. Jupiter has a more benevolent, that's what it's called, Deva Guru. It's auspicious planet. But if it is in a bad house or is being looked at by bad planets, it can cause you problems. What do you do? What problems? Basically, Jupiter gives you peace, contentment, and happiness. Now, I can have a lot and be unhappy. She may not have that much, but she may be very happy, very content, and very peaceful. She's blessed. That's a blessing that comes from the past. I call it Mother's grace. We are all blessed to be here on this day to do this. We are greatly blessed because this will bring us lots of benefit. Doing the Homa we did, and we do it in a very ritualistic way, and there's a different topic, why the Homas work. They work. And we did it. And Mother gave us the privilege of doing it. And she's going to give us many, many, many privileges when she builds her house. How are you? Please take care of her. Give her a chair. Make her comfortable. So Jupiter, important planet. It moves to Capricorn. It will give you who will benefit. Second house, Rishabha Rasi will benefit. Fifth house, seventh house, ninth house, and 11th house. I call it house starting with Aries as 1. We count. Those houses are positive house. Rest of it, I would say negative, malefic, but it can be helped by knowing about Jupiter, coming to a temple or any place where Jupiter is installed. Thursday is his day, Jupiter's day. So I come on Thursday. I had inauspicious Jupiter last year until today. Now it goes into auspicious house. That's why I come today and do the Homa, thanking him, inviting him for the next year. I would get things which I didn't get before. Most important thing is the peace, contentment, happiness, and class. You become classier person. You become nicer and classier. And classier is a big term. I can't explain it to you. So all those nice aspects in life would come. When he goes into bad house, that means I said 2, 5, 7, 9, 11. It's bad, good. Rest of them is not as good, but doesn't matter. You can do something. That's what you want to know. Okay, I have a Capricorn. It's not good for me. What do I do? Do I do anything, or do I say it's a destiny? He's going to stay there for a year. I cannot control and move the planet, so I can't do anything about it. But knowing what Jupiter, what Guru is supposed to do, and what do you want from him, you can come and invoke him. Come to the temple on Thursday evening. We do a special puja on Thursdays for Jupiter. You come on that day and participate in that. It does help. It does help a lot. Not psychologically. Truly, it's beneficial because I went through it last year. Whole year was not a positive one, but I did that and I survived. So you can survive. That's why Mother told me once. The time you're born, your card is dealt. You got all your card. That's all you have. It doesn't change. But I will teach you how to use the card. That's a very, very key, very smart statement. In other words, she's saying, your destiny is done. Because you wrote your story. You're coming to perform that story. That's the prarabdha karma. That's what we are doing, prarabdha karma. And the story is written by us. Our story, whatever we complain and say, your mother didn't help me. No, she doesn't do anything. She observes. But she does the most important thing. She makes us persevere. Perseverance. There's a deity for that. Very high deity. Very powerful deity. Pratyankara Devata. Pratyankara, probably not heard of. She's a very powerful deity. Very high deity. she gives the ability to sustain, to survive under any circumstances. Most horrible life, but she'll make you survive. In other words, everything is perception. If I can make your life be perceived, happy, content, it doesn't matter what you have. You may have nothing, but you'll be happy. You'll be content with what you have. I may have everything. She's given me a very good card, but she didn't teach me how to use the card. That's the only difference between me. Because you have the divine grace, she invites you to her home. This is her home. She's going to give a magnificent temple in the next 2 years. And she takes care of us because we invoked her many, many times. You're here because you called her many thousands of lifetime. Like I said, almost 1 million lifetime an average person goes through. So you asked her, now you are here, and she has invited you. And on this day, she invited you to be here because she knows for the next year, the Jupiter is going to be in that house, Capricorn. And she wants you to know about that and then able to survive and also enjoy. Life has to be enjoyed. She said she wants life to be yoga and boga, both. This is not yoga. Yoga alone is not fun. You need boga. But boga, what kind of boga? How boga? She'll teach us. In this temple, she communicates. Many Yakshinis have communicated with you. Your Kundalini has been active. So you take advantage of it and listen to them. And it's very she's a personal goddess, so I don't have to introduce her to you. Just her and you, and it's a very personal relationship. But planets work. Trust me. The planets are active and they have their own way of working. Jupiter, if it's good, well placed, we're given a write-up on Jupiter. You can read that, whatever, good and bad. And if it is not good, I told you what to do. Think of Jupiter, come on Thursdays, and we do the puja for Jupiter and participate in it. And he will take care of you, and Mother will take care of you. And again, remember, it's not just one planet. There are multiple planets. There's a dasa, there's a buddhi, there's andram. There are many things involved in deciding what your life is going to be on that day and that minute. It's there. But you have to survive it, good and bad. And Mother has given us various methodologies. Sham. Sham is a bija for Pratyankara Devata. Sham is for survival. When I go into worst period, I chant. This is vibration. It's all vibratory. The Sham vibration helps you to persevere the worst circumstances. Think of Pratyankara Devata. Pratyankara is a very powerful Devata, like Durga. She comes promptly and helps you. So all this really, I'm giving you scientific aspect, but nobody believes astrology is pseudoscience. No, trust me, it's a true science, but it's very complex. You really have to have a very good astrologer who has taken into consideration many variables, thousands of variables. But because we are the supercomputers and computerized astrology, probably you can get a fairly good idea if you use those abilities. But still you need a good astrologer who can say it. Like I said, in a bad house, Jupiter can grant you highest pleasure. That's because of Nicha Panga Raja Yogam. So if you know all that and if you know how to invoke, how to take advantage of it, ultimately it's a perception. A bad life can be a good life if you perceive it as a good life. A good life could be a wasted life if you don't perceive it. So ultimately it's all perception. So today is a very auspicious day. We did a wonderful homa for Guru, Deva Guru, and we'll do it again on 20th. And come and do it. Because astrology to me is very scientific. But like I said, Newton was a very good astrologer, but he made astrology a pseudoscience because he came out with some fundamental physical things which is outdated. Many of it is outdated already. The science advances, it changes, but fundamental facts don't change. So at that time, 500 years ago, he was a scientist and he had some new things, and Einstein did it again in this century. Now many things are changing now. even E equal mc squared. There are changes now. So science changes, whereas facts, fundamental fact, astrology is fundamental, doesn't change. But as I said, it's very difficult, very complex. I don't think you can find astrology who can tell you minute changes in your life on the day. But it can be done. That's why I said maybe with the computers they can put all the variables, 1,000 variables, they can crunch it and come out one act, and that will be your life on that day. I think it's possible, and they have computerized charts. I've seen them. He knows more about it. He's a wonderful astrologer. He's a practical astrologer. All of you know him? Please stand up. Let them see you. He's a scholar. He has been involved, that body mind doesn't belong to him. You're not supposed to be here, and he know that. She kept him so that he can share. You want to say a few words about Jupiter? Here. We have just a few moments.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. I have, I'm probably older than everybody here, including Doctor. And during my lifetime, I have seen a lot of people talk about science, a lot of people talk about religion, astrology, Atma Jnanam, Vedantam, Siddhantam, everything. But Doctor is the only person I know so far who can combine both science and religion. To an extent from way back when the first the Parashakti started giving the whole world, starting the whole world as Jagat Janani, till today, he can combine all the astrological facts as well as the scientific facts together and blend them and mix them up in such a way that very common people can understand that. And like he said, today is one Guru transit, is going from Dhanush to Makaram, and for 6 days from now, the 6th day from today is another Guru transit. One is, like he said, is a Vakya Panchangam. It's written by the Rishis thousands and thousands of years ago when it is moving. The other one is like scientifically they say the planet, the physical movement of the planet. This is a spiritual movement of the planet. Technically is the effect, it starts from today. Physically, you see it probably, like from 6 days from now. So we are going to have another Guru Transit function on that day. And like he said, if you are born in Rishabha Rasi or Karkataka Rasi or Tula Rasi, and also Kumbha Rasi, all the four, it's generally it's going to do good. See, naturally, the planets, by nature, some of good planets, by nature, some of our bad planets. It does not mean it is going to give you all good results. This is going to give you all bad results. Like he said, thousands of things are involved. All kinds of combinations between different planets. The combined, the effect is the one watch it you are looking at in your life. And also he said one beautiful word today. He never said it before. Today he said it. What you are experiencing is prarabdha karma. We all know that, right? But it is written by you. That is a key word, Nobody wrote it for you. We usually say, the Brahma has written in my head what is going to happen. No, you, like he said, you wrote what is going to happen to you today. How did you do that? Because your past karma, you did. That is what you are getting it today. She is not creating something for you. What you did, she is giving it to you back. But like he said, when you come and do the prayer to the mother, she takes care of you, but at the same time she has to teach you the lesson also, just like any good mother. When the kid is behaving, you got to whack him a little bit. So thanks. That's one of the things I just want to say about today and the doctor, because he always has he lifts me up a little bit more than what I deserve a lot of times, in my opinion. Thank you, doctor, and I hope everybody will enjoy the graces of the Lord. Thank you.
You know, He is the source of all wisdom. For some reason, He would not reveal it. That's His destiny. What He knows and what He tells. And I told him, but He has met people who are gurus, real gurus, not pseudo gurus. And He has got the grace of those. He has got the grace of those gurus who I know personally. They are not here anymore. They're in Jiva Samadhi. Each one of them, like soul level, they liked him because of pure soul. And but why he doesn't talk, doesn't communicate, I don't know. You can sit down. But he does a lot. He communicates a lot. Yeah, thank you. So she's going to give us a magnificent temple next year. You will see it's 7,000 square feet. It will be 25,000 square feet. It's not the square feet. You can build 100,000. Ambani's house, I heard, was more than 100,000 square feet. You can build the size, but it's who is there and who is connecting to you, who you are connecting to. This place, many yakshinis, the Kundalini gets active, and if you can communicate with them, you get tremendous information which can only Mahasaraswati can give. But even Mahasaraswati gives para, apara wisdom, not para. She cannot give you para. You have to go to higher world, the Akshini world, to get Paravidya. Mahasaraswati will give you the highest level of apara wisdom. All the science and arts, 64 of them, any of them, they still come under apara, not para. Para is true origin, only Mother can give you. And to get that, you really have to go into the higher world. Which world I'm talking about? The mental world, higher level, spiritual world. When you shed this body and move on. By the way, he didn't mention who. When he said you wrote your story, that you is real you, not this you, Atman. And that level is pure. It's pure, honorable, honest. It writes down what that thing is supposed to do, what he didn't do it, and he writes a story. Okay, now I have to go and correct that. So I'll write another story, like a movie, and I'll act out. That is prarabdha karma. That's what we are doing. That you is a problem. Which you are referring to? Am I referring to me? No. Because in me, I won't be that honest and that smart, that wise to know what's the remedy for that mistake I did. I have to know that. To be, I got to be released from the mind, body, ego confinement. The limitation should be gone. That means I have to die. Or you can say I have to be born in the real way, not in this way. So whichever way you want to use it. You may call it death, I call it rebirth. So it's a different way of looking at it. At that level, you are very honest, very honorable. And all those, we have a function for Chitragupta. I was telling these people, we really have to publicize. Because he keeps account. Does he really exist? He exists as a cosmic energy. That means he exists. And he keeps account. And that account is registered in your mind. Because your mind cannot register everything. So you write, you look and say, okay, I lived 80 years, my family, but I missed many things for my own growth. So I come and do it. So you keep on coming till you complete the growth. And like Krishna told Arjuna, you lived 840,000 times, almost 1 million times. I have known you every life. You didn't know, you don't remember me. So he was telling him in Bhagavad Gita. That's why I know we live close to 1 million lifetimes. And each time we correct one deficit and we keep moving. Ultimately, we go back to her. She takes us back. In the process, we go through so many worlds, so many dimensions, so many levels of consciousness, all that. So that story is written by that entity, which is your Atman, which is different from the way I am identified, or different from the way I know myself. Because I have not realized my true self. If I realize, then there is no reason for me to be present in this world. Because the reason to be here is for us to evolve. And that entity to grow into higher form of existence. That the higher form of existence take you to the higher world. And that world, you get Paravidya. There's a cosmic world. There's a high vibratory world. Things move very quickly. We cannot relate. We are very dense beings. The Yakshinis, here there's so many of them, they are very rapidly moving. Different Yakshinis, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas. I call them super sensitive, super sensual beings, but not confined in this mind, body, intellects, slow, dense, which is different than that. So in that world, you can learn because they talk that language, they make you do it. And Mother said, this is the entrance to that. Are we going to go to that world? Yes, that's a destiny. Once you finish your prarabdha karma and your human life, then you go back, enjoy, you call it Vaikuntha, whatever, heaven, whatever. It's a nice, enjoyable place, short time. And then you come back and then start the journey again in a higher form. So the journey never ends. But you do have, those things do exist. Vaikuntha exists, the pleasure exists, and hell exists. Hell is a mind. Hinduism doesn't even recognize hell. Only difference between heaven and hell is the distance between Mahamaya and me. The distance. Closer to her, I am in heaven, or heavenly. Distance is hell. That's the difference. And hell does feel the way it is described. Horrible, terrible, because when we leave this form, we go through the Vetriani river. You know Vetriani river? There's a river Vedas talk about. They even give you the length of the river. In the bottom, it's all glass pieces. So big, very painful. You have to walk through that 800 kilometer, and then you go and then you meet Yama. And the process of passing Vetriani river is very painful. That's why we do Pitru Pujas, because Pitrus go through that and they don't have any help. They're totally naked, meaning all the positive, negative, everything is left behind. They're walking with their own thing, and so we want to think of them. And we want to ask Mother and Mahavishnu to help them, because they're going towards Mahavishnu, who is the source, who is Divine Mother aspect. So once you cross the Vetriani river, you go to Chitragupta and Yama, and Chitragupta gives a report. So those entities exist, but not the way we think. But functionally they do. Every act has to have an effect, good, bad, whatever. That effect is kept, and we do, but we can't do it in one life. So we do it. Sri Mother said, time doesn't even exist. There's no time. Billion years, trillion years, nothing. Only when you are in this limited form, you have days and nights, because you are under the effect of planets. So when you have planet, then you have days, nights. Time has a meaning. Once you're released outside, time doesn't have meaning. The Mother says, you have enough time. Don't have to rush. Take your time. And the time means that many lifetimes. But do the right thing. Ultimately, follow the fundamentals, what the religion teaches you. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That's all Hinduism is. Follow that, be dharmic, and do anything you want. Like I said, Mother said you can have a Bhoga Moksha or Yoga Moksha. But you do the right thing. Dharma should be the backbone, and you can have Bhoga. So it's Hinduism is a very permissive religion. It never stops you from doing anything. It only says, do it dharmically. That's why it's very simply, it's a Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That's all the whole Hinduism is. To make it happen, we create all these Vedas, Upanishads, all that is needed for the knowledge to understand it. So Hinduism is very simple, very honorable, and very easy to accept for anyone, because it's not a religion. It's a way of life. If you follow Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, which anyone would love to follow, that's Hinduism. So there is no religion. So it's a very, very practical way of living what I call pure life, purer life. I think we are done. So 20th is transit. You can come and join us. It's a Friday. We'll do it in the evening, I think. But another thing you have to know, these planets, they move both forward and backward. Even Jupiter, as I said, is very positive for me for the whole year. But 6 months in that year, it moves back. So it's very, very confusing. So I have figured out, whatever it is, I think of mother, I think of simple common sense. Do nice things, be useful to somebody, your family, yourself, society, anybody. Make it a useful, interesting travel. And with mother's grace, she'll make sure that you play that card well. Even the card may be bad, it is dealt already, you can't do anything about it, but she will teach you how to persevere. Pratyankara Devi would come and tell you what to do when in the worst time of your life. You got to invoke her. Sham is a bija. Thank you.